when the law meets the unknown, even the toughest officers find themselves questioning reality.
I swear to God, I saw somebody in the car.
Not the typical criminals. But I am talking about the strange entities that block their ways.
Who is he talking to?
So stay tuned to witness the unreal encounters cops have faced that shocked everyone.
Sit tight, sir. I'll be right back. Okay. Your registration is what the?
Not every patrol goes as planned. Some leave officers questioning reality. A Honolulu police officer had an eerie encounter while patrolling near the Poly Lookout, a site infamous for its ghostly legends. On a routine night, he suddenly heard strange noises echoing through the area. Moments later, a shadowy figure appeared, but before he could react, it vanished into thin air.
She locked that one, and she got back in her car, and she drove. But as she drove in, she saw something white.
The Poly Lookout has a dark history, tied to ancient Hawaiian battles, and many believe spirits still roam the site. Whether it was a trick of the mind or a real ghostly presence, one thing was certain. The officer left that night with a story he'd never forget.
Oh, what are you doing out here, Auntie?
The whole time, the lady sat there, said nothing, and was looking.
Mysterious disappearance. This has to be one of the strangest incidents ever recorded. A police officer pulled over a girl for a traffic violation. Everything seemed normal.
Where are you headed to where you're speeding and missing stop signs?
She handed over her license, and the officer checked her details. To complete the process, the officer told her to stay here till she returns. Instantly, the officer glanced back, only to see the girl. But here the real twist started. She disappeared. Her car and belongings were still there untouched.
All right, sit tight, sir. I'll be right back. Okay. Your registration is
The officer searched the area, but she was gone, and even after reviewing the dashcam footage, there was no sign of her ever being there.
What the? Sarah? What the heck? Sarah?
Unusual moments. Tim, a security guard, expected a quiet shift, but something strange was waiting for him. One night, he spotted pale feet under a door, but when he checked, no one was there. Another time, a loud roar filled the halls, and a locked door swung open by itself. Determined to find answers, he explored an old warehouse packed with forgotten things. That's when shadowy arms reached out from the darkness. His footage was suddenly cut off. After that night, Tim never came back. Whatever was lurking there made sure he wouldn't forget. Creepy women. The officer thought it was just another routine stop until he heard the sounds coming from the car. As he walked closer, a deep, unnatural noise grew louder. Shining his flashlight inside, he expected to find someone in distress. Instead, he saw a woman in the back seat, her face twisted into a strange smile. Her eyes looked empty, yet she mumbled in an unnatural voice. Her body moved in ways that didn't seem human. The officer stepped back, realizing something was very wrong. Whatever was inside her wasn't just there, it was in control. Creepy encounter. Exploring abandoned places always seemed like a thrilling idea until reality hit. A man entered a creepy old church, recording his every step. As he scanned the room with his camera, something shocked him. A tall, shadowy figure stood motionless in the corner, staring.
Hello?
He got terrified, unable to move. Panic took over as he realized this was no illusion. The video ended, but even after leaving, he couldn't escape the thought that whatever was inside wasn't just watching, it was waiting for him to return.
Hello?
Witch encounter. In a small town in Saudi Arabia, the police received unsettling reports of a witch sighting late at night. Deciding to investigate, they set out into the darkness. As they approached the area, the stories turned out to be true. A figure in white appeared before them, clutching a stick, but her face was hidden beneath a tangled mess of hair. The officers were in shock, unable to believe their eyes. The mysterious figure moved closer and closer, and as fear took hold, the officers made the decision to retreat. They quickly backed off, leaving the scene, unsure of what they had just encountered. Mysterious car. A police officer patrolling late at night noticed a car parked on the roadside. He was certain he saw someone trapped inside. Rushing over to check, he found the vehicle completely empty. Confused, he searched the area.
Somebody's in the car. I swear to God, I saw somebody in the car.
Convinced that his eyes hadn't deceived him. But there was no sign of anyone, just the silent car sitting in the dark. The incident left him rattled, as he couldn't shake the feeling that someone had been there just moments ago. Who the car belonged to and what really happened that night remains a mystery. Ghost machine. Late-night workouts are one thing, but who knew ghosts needed to stay in shape too? In a park, a shoulder press machine started moving on its own, as if an invisible force was using it. Police officers recorded the sight, showing the equipment lifting and lowering without anyone touching it. Some believed it was the work of a restless spirit, while others suggested wind or mechanical issues. However, the machine's smooth, controlled movement left many unconvinced by logical explanations. One thing's for sure, if ghosts are hitting the gym now, they might just be stronger than we thought. Unknown force. A young security officer was working the night shift at a hospital undergoing renovations when things took a terrifying turn. While patrolling the empty halls, he captured strange and unexplainable events on his camera. Doors moved on their own, unsettling whispers echoed through the corridors, and shadowy figures seemed to lurk just beyond his sight. Despite multiple investigations, no logical explanation has been found for these disturbing occurrences. What unseen force remains within that hospital, making its presence known in such unsettling ways? Ghostly kids. This security guard was making his rounds in a hospital late at night when he spotted two kids holding balloons. He casually spoke to them, unaware of the eerie truth. There were no kids, just the floating balloons. Everything seemed normal until he later reviewed the CCTV footage. What he saw left him so shaken that he refused to work the night shift ever again. Ghost talk. Not every conversation needs a second person. Sometimes one is enough to terrify. Late one night at the police station, an officer stood near the entrance deep in conversation. He spoke naturally, nodding as if someone stood before him. But in the control room, another officer watching the CCTV feed saw something terrifying. He was talking to thin air.
Who is he talking to?
Confused, he called him and asked, "Who are you talking to?" The officer, still convinced someone was there, tried to explain. But then came the chilling reply, "There's no one there." Realizing the truth, fear gripped him, and he ran without looking back.
Who are you talking to?
I'm talking to a lady. Her name is Miss Abigail.
No, there's nobody in front of you at all.
Possessed woman. In 2021, a family called the police for help, expecting a routine response. But when officers arrived, they found something truly unsettling. A woman was hiding inside a secret room within the wall. Her appearance was so disturbing that even the officers hesitated. It wasn't just her look. She seemed possessed, muttering strange words and moving unnaturally. They spoke to her calmly, trying to bring her out without force. After a long struggle, she finally stepped forward, and they took her to the hospital. What happened to her after that? No one has ever found out. Paranormal presence. Late-night intrusions are common, but this one was beyond the ordinary. In a small town of Dallas, Texas, a resident called the police, fearing that someone had entered her property. Officers arrived and searched every corner of the house, but at first, nothing seemed out of place. Then, a strange feeling crept over them.
Are you inside?
It was as if someone, or something, was still there, watching. Similar reports had been coming from all over town, with residents experiencing the same thing. What exactly was disturbing the town remained an unsolved mystery. Ghostly presence. At the El Milagro market in Ventilla, Peru, a security camera captured an unsettling moment that left many puzzled. The footage showed a guard making his usual rounds when he suddenly stopped in one of the aisles and began speaking as if someone was there. But when reviewed, the recording showed he was completely alone. According to reports, the guard later claimed he had seen a little girl, comforting her and telling her to wait for her mother. Yet, after checking the entire market, no child was ever found. What did he truly see that night? Ghost in police station.
Some police officers saw something that freaked them out, and they captured it on camera.
It's an image that some people say appears to be a ghost walking around the police station.
At the Espanola police station in New Mexico, officers were left baffled when surveillance footage revealed a ghost-like figure moving through a fenced-off area. The strange event, recorded in September 2014, showed a translucent shape drifting across the screen. Yet, no alarms were triggered and no signs of forced entry were found. Despite reviewing the footage multiple times, officers couldn't explain what they had seen. Some believed it was paranormal, while others remained skeptical. But one thing was certain: whatever appeared on that camera was not supposed to be there. Unseen girl. A security officer on night duty at a closed mall food court experienced something he will never forget. He heard the faint sound of a girl crying in the empty dining area. When he approached, he saw a little girl standing there, looking lost. She told him she was searching for her mother. After speaking with her for a while, he decided to report the situation. But as soon as he mentioned the girl, his colleagues got shocked. They told him no one else had been in that area. The officer rushed back, only to find that the girl had disappeared without a single sign of her presence. Scary figures. Some places refuse to be rebuilt, and this house was one of them. The man stood outside the abandoned house feeling an uneasy presence. Just days ago, he and his team had filmed something terrifying here. Now, he had returned to share it. Workers hired to rebuild the place had left in fear, speaking of strange accidents and eerie figures dressed in black. Stones flew, objects moved, and the house itself seemed unwilling to be rebuilt. Dark symbols covered the ground, and whispers filled the air. As he stepped out, he promised to return. But what if something had already left him? Abandoned house. Some adventures should never be taken, and this was one of them. A group of friends exploring an abandoned house stumbled upon a disturbing room. The walls had chains, the floor was covered in scattered hair, and the cage doors only open from the outside. Something was terribly wrong. Realizing this wasn't just an empty house, they called the police. Whatever had happened here wasn't normal. It was something sinister. As they waited outside, a question arose. Had they uncovered a dark secret, or had they just disturbed something that wasn't meant to be found? Unknown presence. A group of friends was enjoying a party at home when things took a strange turn, forcing them to call the police. As the officers looked around, something suddenly fell off a shelf on its own. The group expected answers, but the cops found nothing unusual. There was no logical reason for what was happening. With no explanation and no one to blame, the police left, but the group still felt uneasy, knowing something unseen was still there, watching. Shapeshifter encounter. A man was heading home late at night when he noticed a group of police officers rushing into an old abandoned house. Curious, he moved closer, only to witness something straight out of a nightmare. The officers were trying to catch a horrifying figure, something that didn't look entirely human. It was a shapeshifter, twisting and changing continuously. Just when they almost had it, the thing ran away into the woods, disappearing into the darkness. Who it was and what the police knew remained an unsettling mystery. Strange woman. Locals dialed 911 after hearing strange noises coming from a nearby house. When officers arrived, they found a woman acting strangely and took her into custody. But something was off. Her voice didn't sound like her own. Neighbors confirmed that the eerie tone was nothing like how she usually spoke. She seemed possessed, her words laced with anger as she hurled disturbing curses at the officers. What had happened to her remained unknown, but reports suggested she had been involved in paranormal activities before this incident. Haunted training center. Even training facilities aren't safe from the unknown. At the Honolulu Police Department's Ke'e-Kula-Maka'i training facility in Waipahu, officers have reported eerie encounters for years. Strange footsteps echo in empty halls, disembodied voices whisper in the dark, and shadowy figures appear without explanation. These scary experiences have become so common that they're now part of the facility's lore. No one knows what lingers in the training grounds, but with so many reports, officers are left wondering, are they the only ones walking these halls at night? Ghost encounter. Staying awake on the night shift is tough, but this security guard's sleepiness vanished in an instant. While struggling to keep his eyes open, something unsettling happened. A ghostly figure entered the room. Strangely, only he could see it. Instead of running, he started talking to it, as if it were a normal person. The security cameras captured him having a full conversation with thin air. What exactly was happening that night? No one knows for sure, but after that encounter, he probably never felt alone on his shift again. Ghost attack. This security guard never expected his routine night shift to turn into a nightmare. While patrolling the city hall in Armenia, Colombia, something unseen slammed him into a wall and dragged him across the floor. Surveillance footage captured the terrifying moment, leaving everyone speechless. Mayor Jose Manuel Rios Morales himself shared the video, confirming that the guard was in complete distress after the incident. Some believe it was a ghostly attack, while others remain skeptical. But one thing is certain, after that night, no one in the building felt safe anymore. Ghost in hospital. A quiet night at the hospital took a terrifying turn when the CCTV camera captured something impossible. A security guard stationed at the reception desk stood up as the automatic doors swung open. He seemed to be talking to someone, nodding, and even gesturing as if giving directions. The real shock? There was no one there. The guard even handed a wheelchair to the ghostly entity. The footage clearly showed a wheelchair tire moving on its own, as if an unseen presence had taken it. The guard, unaware of the eerie reality, carried on as if everything was normal. What really entered that hospital remains a disturbing mystery. Shadowy figure. Even the bravest security guards aren't ready for what the night holds. In Buenos Aires, Argentina, Raul Arguello was on duty at the Tomás Adolfo Duco Stadium when he noticed a dressing room door repeatedly opening and slamming shut. With no one else around, he decided to film the incident on his phone, hoping to catch whoever or whatever was responsible. As he opened the door, the room appeared empty. But when he reviewed the footage, a dark, shadowy figure could be seen moving across the benches before vanishing through a wall. Whatever he captured that night, one thing is certain: he never patrolled that area alone again. Door mystery. Late at night, officers in the police station were busy with their work when something unexpected happened. The door suddenly swung open with force, startling everyone. One cop quickly rushed to check, expecting to find someone outside, but there was no one. The hallway was empty, and the silence felt unsettling. They searched the area, but there were no signs of forced entry or anyone nearby. The sudden force behind the door remained unexplained, leaving them wondering if they had just witnessed something beyond the ordinary. What caused it that night remains a mystery. Unexpected encounter. Some patrols are routine, others leave questions that can never be answered. While patrolling near the woods, these Saudi officers came across something eerie. A figure in white sat motionless in the middle of the road, but something about it felt wrong. It didn't look like a normal human. Before they could react, it vanished in the blink of an eye. At that exact moment, a terrified man came running toward them, his face pale with fear. What had he seen? And what had just disappeared? The officers never found the answers. Unseen presence. A hotel security team's routine patrol took a terrifying turn. According to one guard, a guest had passed away in the hotel months earlier, and ever since, strange occurrences had been reported. One night, while checking the staircase, he suddenly heard a woman talking. Moments later, faint footsteps echoed from below, growing louder as if something unseen was rushing toward him.
Oh my god. What the What the
Panic took over, and he bolted up the stairs. Later, while reviewing the footage, he noticed something disturbing. Behind the door, a shadowy figure seemed to be standing still, as if watching him the entire time. Mysterious house. A noise disturbance call led police officers to a house where no humans lived. Locals assumed it was just a loud neighbor, but officers quickly realized it was something far worse. Upon arrival, they saw doors banging violently on their own, despite there being no wind. As they stepped inside to investigate, objects began to fall without explanation. The deeper they went, the stronger the eerie presence became. Before they could process what was happening, an unseen force seemed to push them back. Whatever was inside that house clearly didn't want them there. Scary encounter. Some nights on duty are routine, others make you question reality. In Indonesia, a security guard had an experience he would never forget. While patrolling in the middle of the night, he noticed an old woman standing at the entrance, trying to come inside. Wanting to assist her, he began guiding her in. But in the security room, officers monitoring the CCTV saw something terrifying. There was no one there. They immediately called him, telling him he was alone. He glanced back to confirm, and when he realized the truth, fear took over. Without a second thought, he bolted from the building, leaving everything behind. Paranormal building. A security guard kept hearing strange noises from an empty building, so he decided to check it out. As he stepped inside, he noticed the back door was open. Again, he called out, but there was no response. Moving cautiously, he tried to convince himself it was just the wind. But then, doors began opening on their own. Realizing he wasn't alone, he turned on his camera to document the eerie scene.
Door was open again. Hello, security.
The deeper he went, the stronger the feeling of being watched became. That was enough. He wasn't sticking around to find out what was hiding in the darkness. Ghostly figure. A man was looking out of his apartment window when he noticed something unusual. The area's guard was walking calmly, unaware that a shadowy figure was right behind him. The eerie presence followed him for a while before vanishing into thin air. Disturbed by what he had just witnessed, the man recorded the event and later showed it to the guard. Shocked, the guard had no explanation for what he saw. Locals claimed they often felt an unusual presence in the area. Perhaps this was the very entity they had sensed before. Watts family. Police officers expected a routine investigation when they stepped into the Watts family home, but what they found was anything but ordinary. As they moved through the house, an unsettling smell of cleaning products filled the air. Then came the whispers, electronic voice phenomena, EVPs, echoing eerie phrases like, "Get out!" Some officers even reported seeing a shadowy figure on the staircase. Outside, the mystery deepened when a woman was seen entering the house on CCTV, yet she was never seen leaving. Lights flickered on and off without reason, and strange shadows moved through the halls. Whether paranormal or not, the events captured on body cam footage left officers rattled and viewers questioning what exactly was in that home. Mysterious van. A routine high-speed chase took a bizarre turn when two officers pursued a runaway vehicle swerving wildly across the road. Despite their commands, the driver refused to stop. But when they finally cornered the vehicle, their shock was undeniable. No one was behind the wheel. The doors were locked, and the car appeared completely empty. Just as they processed this eerie discovery, the vehicle seemingly vanished, only to reappear at a bank moments later. Once again, it was locked, with no sign of a driver or passenger. Now those officers walked away knowing they had encountered something truly unexplainable. Gettysburg Ghost. Driving through a battlefield at night might not be the best idea. Greg Ewing and his family were passing through Gettysburg when they captured something unusual on camera. The site, known for a major battle of the Civil War, is rumored to be haunted. As they drove, strange, misty figures appeared to dart across the road. The shapes looked like soldiers running through the battlefield before vanishing into the darkness. Some say it was just fog, but others believe it was the spirits of fallen soldiers, still present after all these years. Whatever the truth may be, that drive through Gettysburg is one the family will never forget. Invisible people.
There's people in my car. I know you can't see them. I try to get them out, but they won't not leave.
A girl was driving when she suddenly felt someone was in her car. She looked in the mirror and saw shadowy figures sitting beside her. Scared, she pulled over and called the cops. When the officers arrived, they checked the car but found no one. Everything looked normal, yet she knew what she had seen.
How many people are in your car right now?
From what I saw, see, look, she's moving. Did you see the car seat move?
I didn't.
There's clearly nobody in the car.
She couldn't explain it, but the memory of that moment stayed with her. Ghost of Lady. A security guard at a park in Mexico was doing his usual rounds when he heard strange noises. He thought it was just an animal, but as he walked closer, he froze. In front of him stood a figure in white. At first, he thought it was a person, but as he looked closer, his heart raced. It was a ghost. People had spoken of a girl's spirit wandering this area, one who lost her life in an accident. Maybe this was her. Without a second thought, he turned and ran, leaving the ghostly figure behind. Cop encounter.
This place definitely gives out some creepy vibes.
While patrolling late at night, a cop noticed a strange house standing in the darkness. Curiosity got the best of him, and he stepped closer to take a look. Just then, something moved. At first, he thought it was nothing, until he saw a shadow appear both inside and outside the house. The air grew heavy, and an uneasy feeling crept over him. Then, out of nowhere, creepy laughter echoed through the night. That was enough for him. Without a second thought, he turned back, knowing this was not a place to stay.
This place definitely gives out some creepy vibes.
Haunted office. Working late at the office, this man was determined to finish his tasks. His co-workers had warned him about strange occurrences, insisting he shouldn't stay after hours. But he never believed in such things. That night, the silence felt heavier than usual. Then, out of nowhere, a large LCD screen slid off the shelf and crashed to the floor. No one else was there. No explanation made sense. At that moment, he realized his co-workers were right. Without wasting another second, he grabbed his things and left immediately. Scary discovery.
Where was it?
A group of YouTubers decided to explore an abandoned house, but the moment they stepped inside, they were shocked. Everything was scattered as if untouched for years. The house felt mysterious, revealing one secret room after another. As they continued, things took a strange turn. A smoky mist appeared out of nowhere, objects moved on their own, and eerie sounds filled the air. Realizing they had seen enough, they made the only sensible choice, leaving before things got worse.
Where was it? Oh shit.
Mysterious church.
Essa igreja aqui, ó.
Late at night, a man was traveling near an abandoned town in Mexico. Feeling tired, he decided to rest for a while and explore the area. Everything seemed quiet until he reached an old church. Out of nowhere, the church lights on, even though no one was inside. The door was locked, yet it began shaking violently, as if something unseen was desperately trying to break free. Shocked by what he was witnessing, he had no idea what was happening. One thing was clear. He needed to leave before whatever was inside got out. And now, let us move on to our subscriber pick of the day. People say abandoned houses hold secrets, but some are better left undiscovered. Back in 2019, in a small town in Mexico, a man reported something terrifying inside an old, crumbling house. A Skinwalker-like being. Fear spread quickly, and the police arrived, ready to confront whatever was inside. Room by room they searched, but they didn't think to look above. Before they could react, the thing crawled upside down along the wall, moving in an unnatural way. Then it leaped. Chaos erupted. The officers barely escaped with their lives. No one has entered that house since. Whatever was inside stayed inside. Or worse, it didn't.